afternoon. In today's video, I have been asked to give a little background information about me, who I am, where I come from, what my influences are. So I will do my best. I don't really talk about myself very much. Let's see, I was born in the Midwest in America. And I was born into a family. I was the second daughter of 4 daughters of my parents. My mother was Catholic, and my dad had no belief in God when in my youth. My paternal grandparents had no belief in that I am aware of God, but they did celebrate the holidays, the American holidays, to include Christmas and Easter. My maternal grandparents, my grandfather was Catholic, and his wife, my grandmother, believed in God, but she did not attend church except with him on Easter and Christmas. She did, though, believe in God because she would refer to him as the man upstairs. She was a very spiritual person, though, who had visions. And when I was younger, I kind of took more after her. I had visions, and I could hear people like walking up the stairs when there was no one there. And I could feel someone touch me when, like a ghost, when there was no person you could see. So that higher spirituality has been part of my family. My mother used to, it would irate her, she said, that I refused to learn prayers when I was young. And I did attend First Communion when I was like 7, I think. But by the time I was in 8th grade for confirmation in the church, I did not want to be confirmed in the church. I expressed that quite vehemently, and I had to go through the ceremony anyway, but I refused to speak. By the time I was 12 or 13, I already knew that the practices and ideas being presented to me were not of my belief. God was already influencing me strongly, even in my youth. By the time I was 16, I quit going to church completely. I just refused to go. I would watch the hypocritical actions of people going to church, whether it was Catholic or Protestant or any of them really. And they would sit in church all pious and perfect, and then the rest of the week did not reflect that at all. So I just didn't buy into their doctrine. I didn't buy into what they were preaching, and so I had that as an influence. I was aware of Jesus as a spiritual God for that religion, but I did not believe that he was God. I always was interested in education. When I was 13, I announced to my parents that I was going to be a doctor in psychology. My mother squished that and said, "Do you know how many years of education that is?" And I was like, what do I care? I was 13. So that wasn't very supportive. My father and mother were entrepreneurs. They were very much into business, developing their own businesses and holding real estate. And although they had 4 children, in the college or in the high school years, they were much more involved in their business than they were in their daughters' lives. I think they regret that a little bit, but that was the way it was. So I was married when I was 19, and I thought I was in love. He was older than me by 3 years. He had just joined the military. He'd gone to Germany. I thought he was worldly and wise. He was athletic, so with an 18-year-old brain, I thought he would always be healthy and fit. We only went on about 24 dates before we were married. We primarily wrote letters to each other and talked on the phone. We really did not know each other very well. But nonetheless, I was married at 19, and I have had 2 sons, born 2 years apart. Unfortunately, what I found out after I was married was that he and I did not really have a lot in common. His ideas and beliefs did not match mine. He didn't want me to work, which was a very Midwest kind of patriarchal idea, where I had been working 2 jobs in high school, so I had no idea how to sit home. And then when I had children, I was taking care of small children. However, I always had a longing for higher education, and he told me that he would not allow me to get an education. And when I tried a few times to do like a remote class, then he insulted me and was just completely unsupportive of my ideas and dreams. So that marriage did not last. It lasted a little longer than it would have, because we had traveled overseas. He was in the military, and so shortly after we returned to the States, and I had a job making a decent income, then I divorced him. He was not supportive of me. He was psychologically abusive to the children, in that he would have them make fun of me doing different things. So that was not very healthy, and I wanted to get rid of that influence. Unfortunately, 2 beautiful little boys were kind of caught in the middle, and that was really sad. But when I was in my early 30s, I heard from a coworker that she was going to college, and so I inquired and decided to fulfill my lifelong dream of getting a higher education. And so I went to, I contacted and went to Regis University. I did their undergraduate program in 2.5 years and graduated Alpha Sigma Nu with honors. During that time, I had 3 professors that really influenced me. One was Dr. Melendez. He was Hispanic, and his whole family came from Mexico and received doctorates. He was just such a wonderful professor. He taught me my very first class in sociology, and he didn't know it, but in my mind, I had decided that if I liked the class and did well, then I would get my full degree. And so Dr. Melendez was instrumental in my higher education. Dr. Jones was a psychiatrist who taught me in several different psychology classes. Very, very nice man. Very down to earth, easy to relate to, and had a very professional and easy manner in the classroom. And the third primary influence in my undergraduate studies was Rabbi Hirsch. And yes, he's Jewish. He taught me just volumes about the Jewish faith and culture, which are completely connected, interwoven. And he taught me about world spirituality, and I even joined his board of directors for a short time. In Colorado Springs, they gave the Dove of Peace Award, and I thought that was just a beautiful concept to inspire peace in your community. Anyway, he was another absolute influence in my undergraduate studies. Then I took about 6 months off, and I went on to complete my master's program, which took 2 years. And during that time, all of the changes began. Jesus came to me in a vision, and my life started to change dramatically. My psychology degree in my undergraduate studies changed to a more holistic psychology degree, where I was exploring world religions and spiritual practices, and I began meditation, and I was learning about the cosmos and the constellations, and I was exploring the architecture of Egypt, and looking at all the pyramids and the beautiful pictures of the paintings in the tombs. And from America, I had no idea what all that meant. It was just what you could study in books and a little bit online. And so around the same time that I was beginning to feel the stirrings of Kundalini awakening, I had finished my master's program with honors, and that was the beginning of the really profound changes. So I learned about world religions and spirituality and different practices in my 30s when I was going to college. I'm a huge proponent of higher education, free higher education. If you put your money into education instead of into war, you will have a much more intelligent society. In my youth, I was influenced by Christianity and Catholicism, and I was also influenced throughout my entire life by spirituality, having visions and excuse me, and hearing spirits around me. So that is my background. When you awaken Kundalini, star people are instrumental in making it happen. The Anunnaki are the ones that seeded humanity on planet Earth, and they are so excited when someone evolves from low frequency human to their own divinity. And star people, like I have said before, walk among you quietly. They don't announce who they are, but they're mostly here to help and evolve humans to a higher frequency, to a higher conscious awareness, to a much more beautiful life than what you are initially experiencing. So do not be afraid, and embrace what you are being guided to learn. So that's me, kind of in a brief summary, and I wish you a peaceful life, and if you are called to awaken Kundalini, then I hope you have a beautiful awakening to yourself. Thank you very much.